Woman 1984 recently came out in theaters last week and digital on Christmas, and honestly, I wanted to like it. I really enjoyed the first DC movie and love the comic book character of Wonder Woman in general, so I, and many others, were looking forward to the sequel. While I'm not against this movie, it certainly was disappointing and I'd need a ton of spices to swallow it down happily. Let's take a look at why. Spoiler alert! Wonder Woman 84 features Diana Prince living in the 80s when she comes across a wishing stone that can grant you your wish. Before she can learn more, Maxwell Lord, a struggling businessman, steals the stone and absorbs its power. Now, Wonder Woman has to stop Lord while squaring off against Cheetah, a friend turned foe. The character portrayals were pretty weak. Maxwell Lord just wanted to be successful. He didn't want to destroy the world or even rule it, just be a great businessman. Never once was I afraid of him or what he could do because he was not intimidating at all. Barbara wishes to be more like Diana, which translates into this new confidence and sex appeal, even though she met her a day ago and hasn't been presented with any reason to want to be more like her. We're shown that Diana keeps to herself, doesn't have this group of friends that Barbara suddenly gets out of nowhere, and the only time Diana is hit on is during the party which Barbara wasn't with her at, so she hasn't seen any of this attractiveness or grace that she ends up wishing for. The story itself is filled with so many plot holes and inconsistencies that left everyone with unanswered questions. How did Diana just suddenly get the power to make the airplane invisible when she's supposed to be getting weaker? Why was she even allowed to compete with the Amazonian adults at the age of 7? The fact that this movie was set in 1984 is very off-putting, as 2016's Batman vs Superman told us that Diana has been lying low for the past 100 years. Did no one notice any of this? And why does Maxwell get to specifically pick the terms and conditions of others' wishes? That's not how the monkey's paw works. The consequence is always related to the original wish. This is like the genie telling Aladdin, sure, you can be a prince, but I'll make you bald. Just because. Also, there's this. Superman? The CGI in this movie was so mediocre. The action scenes were just sad to watch because they looked so cheap and they're coming from one of the most successful movie studios in the world. Take this scene where she swings by to save these two children who, for some reason, have not heard or seen the tanks coming right at them. I have no words. And Kristen Wiig was wearing these really nice glasses actually, for half the movie, but you can literally see the green screen reflected back on them, which is very distracting once you notice. The pacing and organization throughout were awful and felt so wrong. Diana is like, let's go Steve, it's so important that we find this magical stone that brought you back and follow this guy that's potentially really dangerous. And then it cuts to a 10-minute montage of them picking outfits and touring the city. Did they forget they need to be somewhere? And then when they finally gotten moving and hop in this fighter jet, somehow they're on their way to save the world when, oh my god, look, it's the 4th of July, and they decide to fly through fireworks. I was confused about what they were even trying to do the whole time because it was all just detours. The creepiest part of the whole movie has got to be the fact that Steve possessed a random guy's body? None of this was consensual. The man could have literally died on this mission. This was an unnecessary detail that shouldn't have even been put into the movie when Steve could have just appeared out of thin air like everything else. And somehow, coincidentally, the original guy that was possessed meets Diana at the end of the movie wearing the outfit she put together. Was this a set in the first place, or did she leave the clothes beside each other? I don't even know. The ending was absolutely terrible. The bad guys were let completely off the hook. Maxwell goes, "Oh, my son," and just leaves after he nearly caused a nuclear apocalypse. And Cheetah, well, we just see her sitting there. She didn't even die or get hurt. Very anticlimactic. The whole idea of everyone having to renounce their wish is honestly really dumb and unrealistic. Is there not one person who decided, I don't really care about anyone else, I'll just take my Lamborghini and go? And why is Diana staring at us awkwardly while she's talking to the world? This is a blockbuster superhero movie. Where's the giant battle to end off the film? Wonder Woman is literally known to fight gods, and the first movie got that right. Oh wait, that's because it wasn't Patty's originally planned ending for that movie. She wanted something more like this. Pray for Star Wars with me, folks. As an Egyptian, the Cairo Sequence was so bad it wasn't even funny. You'd think a movie that is woke would do a little bit of research on a foreign country in a specific time period, not fall into the stereotype. In the 80s, urban Egypt was colorful and lively and not whatever this is. It's not okay that in 2020 Egyptians are still being portrayed as Bedouins in the Sahara, adding this yellow filter and these lopsided streets because architects in 80s Egypt can't build, I guess? Gal Gadot is the perfect Wonder Woman. Visually, she's beautiful, has legs for days, and she fits Diana Prince flawlessly. But Gal is not a strong actress in my opinion. I found her pretty monotone throughout most of the film, and her dramatic scenes were quite cringy. Honestly, if she dressed in the same costume and simply posed for a DC magazine instead, that would work a lot better than these movies. Everyone was expecting this really strong message of feminism in the movie, considering the director is a woman, the lead is a woman, the cast was initially filled with women, and the first Wonder Woman movie was very empowering, showing audiences that women can do just as much as men can. Here though, there was none of this to be found. In fact, Barbara's whole arc of becoming Cheetah only made it worse because her turning point, where she now truly is a villain, is when she stands up for herself. It is now implied that standing up against an abuser is villainous, which does not in any way scream feminism. So, is this the worst movie ever made in history? No. The opening Themyscira sequence was very well done. Chris Pine plays a super charismatic Steve Trevor. The color palette was bright and fun. The scene where Diana has to let Trevor go was actually pretty touching for me, and I loved seeing more of Pedro Pascal as he really is a strong actor. My brother just made us watch Hardcore Henry yesterday, and trust me, Wonder Woman 1984 is not as bad as it gets.